Hey, what up guys? Nicholas here. Today will be quite different. We're going to take a little bit of a break from Golem, just because I've been getting a lot of requests on one of my older videos of the nCloth, unrolling, unraveling, unfurling, unwhatevering for Maya, because the concept is actually quite simple, but the traditional way of just creating like a roll of paper or whatever, like a carpet or whatnot, is just if you convert that into an nCloth and just try to control it, it's kind of unpredictable when you try to, let's say, use end constraints or some sort of colliders to move it around. It's just not ideally the best way to kind of animate it and get what you want. So today I'll show you the concept behind it, which is very, very simple. And then from there, I'll actually do like a tutorial on how to actually make a setup for it so that you guys can follow along in case you wanted to continue further on it. And then this way you can actually manually animate your rolling paper or carpet or whatever. And then the nCloth will be left behind and just kind of dynamically settle in place, or however it's supposed to do. I just quickly wanted to demonstrate the problems with actually doing a full nCloth object. So here we have a roll, and if I just hit play, you can see everything just kind of empties out, and I have a little constraint here. So if I just, let's say, wrap it up quickly like that, and you can see I'm trying to be very careful not to mess with it. You know, it's like sliding a little bit, it's not super even, and then I would want to like maybe animate it out like this, and then you have parts that are just kind of going in place. It slides off. Maybe if we make the stickiness up, even collisions, like if I do this, you got a little bit of a mess. So yeah, fundamentally this is not going to work out like in production, or if you really need to hit those hit the right animations with them. So let me show you the actual concept behind it. I'll start with a new scene, and it's actually quite simple. We're literally just using the input attract map. So we're actually telling nCloth which areas of this object will be dynamic and which areas won't be, and then we will just pretty much reveal the dynamic nCloth behind it, and that will actually be left behind as we unroll the object. So let's go ahead and under Infects create the nCloth object. In the nucleus, I'm just going to put a ground plane real quick. So if I hit play, obviously it just sits there. But in my nCloth shape, we have a dynamic properties, and under dynamic properties maps, you've got this input attract map type. So it's going to be a texture, and then we can actually plug in a map here. So inside the hypershade, I'll just quickly throw in a ramp. Black to white's fine. And we'll select the nCloth, and here is the input attract map. So throw that in, and you can see black to white here, and this follows the VRAMP. So this will follow your UV. Sorry, here it is, and it'll be V. So it'll actually go from 0 to 1 here. So this will be black, and this will be going up to white. So let's go ahead. Actually, this is not going to work yet. We've plugged this map in, but up here there is actually a multiplier. So the input mesh attract is plugged into that. Just going to go ahead and put it to 1, so it's activated basically, or it's multiplied by 1. And we'll hit play. And there you go. So now it's actually showing that on these UVs, which are down here, it's gradually fading to the actual object. So if I take this and I actually drag this over, wait, am I getting played? No, I'm not. Okay, so if I press play and I drag this over, you can see how it actually turns on and off the nCloth. So that's it. Yeah, it's pretty much that simple. And so I guess some of you guys should be able to use that in your setups. And work from there. And what I'll do though is actually create a setup. So if you want to follow along, just keep listening to this video, and let's do it. So we'll start with a new scene. First thing we want to do is create the roll. So to do that, you would need like a spiral curve, and then you would loft across it. So quick trick for that is if we just, actually I don't have to go to the modeling. If you go to create polygon primitives, there's a helix here. And the helix will say how many rolls we want. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's take that up a bit. Believe it's, no, not the axis. Could be the coil, no. Yeah, coils, here it is. So let's say there are 6. That looks pretty cool. Now you select the edges, and it's simple as modify, convert. They have this awesome feature here called polygon edges or edges. Yeah, polygon edges to curve. So now we essentially have a curve in a spiral helix. And inside the animation, you can create a lattice over top of it, bring it down to 2 by 2 by 2, go into component mode, select these top faces, go into top view, and scale those faces down until you have a roll. I think I'll just go with something like this. Cool. And now back in perspective, we can flatten that lattice down to nothing. Cool. So I'll delete history and zero everything out. I didn't want to center pivot because I think that's going to shift it off a little bit. Yep. Because I know that this is pretty much where the roll is, so this is quite important. Now we want to basically loft across this. So what I'll do is snap this down on the left view, duplicate it, snap it up again. So ideally we have something like that. And I will go to modeling, curved surfaces, loft. Let me reset the settings. So we want to make a polygon. We want it to be quads as well. Everything else seems fine, complete. We'll do general, and we know that the number of the number of views could be quite a high number, and the V's should be, let's say 1, 2, maybe 4. Sorry, 4. I think since it's just a demo, we don't need to go crazy on it. Yeah, something like that. It looks like it should work. Cool. This actually shows that the normals are actually flipped. So just make sure you select these faces, and I'm still getting used to the interface for 2016. They've moved things around, but I believe it's in mesh display, normals, reverse. There you go. So now they're all facing outwards. Delete history, zero everything out. We don't need these curves anymore. But we have here our roll. It looks like a toilet paper, actually. Cool. I'm just gonna kind of rotate this into right axis. So like, let's say 0 by 90 by 90. So this guy is kind of facing out, because what we will do is reveal nCloth as it moves forward. So it does have to have some kind of opening here, so it has room to unravel. And then as we roll, this guy can start turning. Cool. So that's going to be pretty much the setup. Let's save our scene. I guess I'll just make, you know what, this is all just a temp file, so I'll put it in here. Put it on UNR for Unroll. No spots, no shots, and this will be a temp version 1. Cool. So let's name this. We'll call it roll geo 1. I always put a 1 after my geo. Actually, I always hit the name, then I put the type, whether it's a geo or group or curve or whatever, and then I always put a number after it. So in case I need to duplicate it, I always have a starting point of 1, and I can always call it back. And also, if I have multiple geos or like a curve or something like that, and I want to quickly select only my geos, I can just put asterisk anything geo and asterisk again, so numbers, and you can see it selects all the geos in the scene and not the curves or whatever. So it's a quick little thing that I kept in mind when I do my naming conventions in Maya. And everyone else should also have their own naming conventions, whatever you're comfortable with and what kind of gets the job done. Cool. So here's our object. The first thing we want to do is create the rig, like I would say, like in the loosest sense of the term. It's more of just like a setup. So let's go ahead and create a controller for it. Go to create curve tools CV. We'll just make it one linear, and we just want to make a box around it. So I'll hold X, bring it around, go to left view, we'll go up, oops, we'll go up, then we'll go to the top view and bring it around again. Cool. Left view, down. Actually, we could probably go into perspective now. We're almost there. Maybe I can just hold. Nope, I'll have to go to the top view. Oops, the left view again. You know what? I wonder if they've created like, wait, I wonder if they've created curve box, because there's a curved circle, but they don't have a curve box or curve helix. So, oops, just hit enter. There you go. So we'll call this the roll control. Roll control. We'll put that inside. So the roll control should be centered right there, and this guy will just kind of move around. So we'll let's say we'll move it like this, because I don't want to actually move this geometry around. Like, we should keep, since this is going to be a little bit of a sensitive setup, things will be connected to other things. I don't want to actually move my main guy around. I want other things to control it. So I'll use this to move, and I wouldn't even use this to rotate. I'll probably just throw in something else here and connect that to the rotation. So yeah, let's go do that then. Create CV, curve tools. Cool. Go to my left view. I guess maybe I'll just make like an X, because it looks cool. Looks like we know what we're doing. You know what? Maybe we can do like a. Maybe we can do something like. Like that. Well, that's kind of cool. Okay. So center pivot, bring it inside here. Cool. So this will be the rotation curve. So I'll do rot curve, bring that into there, and then I will bring this into here. Cool. And actually what I want to do, because my roll is, this is actually the pivot that I want to follow, I will snap this by holding C to this curve here. So now it's snapped on the curve. Cool. And then in the top view, I will snap it to the, holding X, snap it to the middle of the seam. Cool. So now I know that if I rotate this curve, it should be right in the middle of that roll. Cool. And I want to just zero this out because it's got some translates to it. So I'll just hit 0. This curve should also be 0, so we want to start fresh, and the control is also at 0. So I can move this now, and then I can rotate this independently. Perfect. So what I want to do is put everything under this control. So we want to just have an attribute here for the rolling of it. Actually, I'll just call it, yeah, I'll call it rolling, why not? So you want to hold control, hold the right click, and go to add attribute, and we'll just type roll. It's going to be a float, even though rotation is a vector, which is a X, Y, Z. We're only using one axis, which is probably going to be the Y. Let's see though. So it's just going to be float, and we'll hit OK. So now you want to bring up your connection editor. I have a hotkey for it here, but you can just go to Windows, Relationship Editors, and Relationship Editors? No, General Editors, Connection Editor. It's the same thing as that. So your driver goes in the left, so you reload left, and then you want to put this in the right. Cool. And which axis are we following? No, it's the rotate X. Perfect. So you just go down here and look for rotate. Scale, rotate, and there's your rotate X. And then here, all the way on the bottom, you have roll. So roll and rotate X. if I move this left, then I can just take this roll and I can actually turn it. Cool. So this is the point you should be at right now. You should be able to control your paper towel like this, and you should also be able to control the attribute, the roll attribute for it like this. Cool. Let's save. Done. Okay, I think that is pretty close to it in terms of translating and rotating, but now we got to get into the fun stuff, which is the dynamic attributes, so that input at attract map and getting this guy into an nCloth. So before we just jump in and turn this into one, let's think about a few things. When we animate this, if something is already an nCloth, actually it won't actually compute what it's doing. I just turned this into 0 just because it's good practice to start at 0 when you're doing anything that has dynamics. Anyways, what I was saying is if it has an nCloth on it, and even if you enable it or disable it, when you move that thing around, it's just going to stay in place. So you've got to just kind of create a proxy for it, something for you to visualize, and then turn that off and turn the nCloth on. So what I'll do is just duplicate this roll. I have a roll 1 and a roll 2, and what I'll do just for me is call this one my static roll, let's say, and this one can be my dynamic roll. So theoretically this is going to be our nCloth, and this is just going to be someone that we can visualize, and we'll just want to turn it on and off. Cool. So that's very easy to do. I'll just create another attribute here. So right click, control, add attribute, and I will just call this, we'll just call dynamic. How about that? It's just going to be a float. Actually, it'll be an integer. Oh no, you know what? It'll be a Boolean, on or off, 0 or 1. And I'll hit OK. So we have a dynamic off and on. So for dynamic off, we want the static roll to be on, and that means this one should actually be hidden. Cool. So we'll hide that for now. And what we'll do is we want to... That's my cat. That's Mishki's. She's chasing around a toy. So, sorry, where were we? That's right, dynamic off, and the dynamic roll geo is off and the static is on, and then when we turn dynamic on, this will be hidden, that will be on. So it's basically a driven key. They don't have it, I don't think, in the Windows anymore, so under the animation tab, go to key, and there it is, set driven key, and we'll just go to set. Our driver, of course, is going to be the control, which is the dynamic part, and our driven will be the static roll, load driven, visibility on, and the dynamic roll, load driven, visibility on. So now if I hit on for dynamic, we were going to hide this, show this, and dynamic roll, key, and static roll, load driven, visibility, key. Cool. So if I try this now, I hit this as off, you can see static is on, dynamic is off, and on, dynamic is on, static is off. Perfecto. Cool. So that will turn on and off the dynamic one, so we will actually nCloth this guy. We have our roll, which is great, and we finally have our control, which is this one here. So let's get started with the nCloth. I'm going to select this dynamic roll, go under FX, go to, it should be actually NFX, right? Because basically, no, actually there's more stuff like Bifrost and Golem and FumeFX, but go to Effects and click on nCloth, create nCloth. Cool. I think we're fine with just keeping it standard. I'm not going to change any presets or whatever, but in my nucleus I'm going to want a ground plane. I don't want to create something, and just so that we have it, I just want to hit press play just to make sure everything's working. Great. And then if I go to my roll and I turn dynamic off at 0, you can see the other one on there. Beautiful. Rewind. Awesome. We're not going to put anything in the middle here because we actually don't need anything, but just for like to show that it's toilet paper, you'd want to put like a little cardboard in there, but we're gonna be good with what we have right now. Now, as I showed you earlier, we're gonna put a ramp in. So let's go ahead and bring that file, ramp 1. I'm not gonna name anything crazy, so I'll keep everything default, which is nCloth and ramp 1 and whatnot. And in the input attract, mesh attract, you also want to put this at 1 because that's a multiplier, and dynamic properties maps down here at the input attract map, plug that ramp in. Cool. So if I take a look at this, let's go to our UVs. Where do we start? If I take this edge, this edge to this edge, looks like we're actually going to start here and move over out. So the end should be over here somewhere. Yeah, so it'll actually go on the H. So I'm going to switch the type. Actually, the U, V and H. No, it's U actually. Yeah, why didn't they make that H? Doesn't make sense. Actually, I'm sure there's a reason behind it. So we'll make that U. And then, because we do want to fall off on it, we don't want it to just be like, actually it should be like this. We don't want it to just go from on to off. And I'll show you if we do that, what's going to happen. It just doesn't look as natural as it should. Let's go ahead and hit play. Let's move this guy up a little bit here. You can see it just drops right here. So it'd be nice to actually give us a little bit of a fall off on that. Cool. So I just moved that up. Let's go ahead and undo that, bring it back to 0. What we'll do is keep it linear, and we will just basically animate this out, and this one would just follow. So first things first, let's put this in a position where it's fine, maybe at 0.91. That looks good. And we're going to add another attribute to this, and that will be the unrolling. So hold right click and let go on that. And we will call this unroll. This will just be a float, and we will go from a minimum of 0 and a maximum to 1, default being 0. Cool. So if I go ahead and connect, oops, sorry. What we want to do is connect the selected position to this number here. So if I go to 1, it's going to be there, or basically a little bit below that. Let's just say there. I'll delete the old one, so we only have 1. So we started here, and then when I animate this will actually unravel that way to this side. Cool, so we'll start at 1. Go into your connection editor again. We load the driver, of course, on the left side, and we're going to load the ramp on the right side, and look for the it should be an array for the color. Color gain, color option, offset, no. Let's see here, hold on. Ah, there it is, color entry list. Cool. So we'll open up the color entry list, and you have 1, and if I put another one in here, there should be 2. So let me just delete that. We'll just deal with 1 for now. Let's refresh this. There you go. Color entry list 1, and there's the position. So we want the unroll to be connected to the position. So now if I look at it here off to the side, and I take this bad boy and move the unroll, you can see that it actually goes from 0 all the way to 1. Perfect. So now what we want to do is make a black one right here. And the black one will basically follow the white one, just with an offset, maybe like, let's say if this was 0.9, this one can be like 0.95. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but let's just say it's 0.05 of an offset. And we can literally just go in here, right click it and hit create new expression, copy its attribute name, which is this one, just put it in here. So we're saying the black color position is equal to 1 color entry list, which is the white color entry list, plus 0.05, and you end it with a semicolon. Hit create, you'll have a new color here. And now wherever I, select the control, wherever I move this unroll, that black will follow with a little bit of a gradient offset. Cool. So if I hit play, I can, actually you can't really see. There you go. There, that's slowly revealing more and more until there's actually nothing here. I think I went too low. So let's harden it up and go up there. So let's rewind it. We're at 1. I have a new entry here. I don't know what that's about. Let's delete that. I think Maya did something buggy. Cool. Everything seems to work. Great. Yeah, that's basically it. So let's have some fun now. Let's make some colliders. So that this roll can just roll over it and around it and whatever. So we'll put one like that. Let's go crazy and put like a box somewhere as well, like here maybe, or maybe a little bit further, like there. Cool. And we're basically going to animate this guy going all the way over. So let's turn these into passive colliders. So under effects, go to nCloth, create passive collider. I'm not going to change any settings. Let's just hit play to make sure everything still works. Move that down. Yep, looks good. Cool. And if I go to point, let's say 8, only some of that should unravel. Perfect. Cool. So let's animate. Save. I'll make, I don't know, we'll make it 200 frames. We'll start with frame 0. I'll put a keyframe by holding Shift W. And I know I just want to get to the end, actually, maybe in, let's say, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Yeah, let's say 4 seconds. Should be quite good. This is a really big rock, actually. Maybe it's better if we just make this a bit smaller. And we'll just put it like here. Like that. Okay. So did I make key here? There you go. You can see it's just like left behind, and that is because my dynamic roll is on. So if I put this off, we can see exactly what we're messing with. Oops, that's my cat again. So if I press play, you can see it rolling across like that. Ideally, in the beginning, there might not be some sort of easing, so we'll just take those first frame and just kind of make it really sharp. That way it just moves and then it slows down at the end like that. It loses its momentum. Cool. So now what we want to do is the unrolling part. Actually, you know what, before that, let's jump over these. So I know that at this point it's going to hit here. Cool. I'll hit W. And I'll hit another W here. I'll go back and he's just going to be a little bit higher now. So it's like dink. Cool. But now there's some easing there. So my graph editor, I'm just going to go ahead and find it. It's probably only in Y. Yep. These bottom ones should be sharp. The top one is going to be more rounded. And X doesn't need any. Z doesn't need any. Cool. Actually, I'm going to delete X completely. So it's just Y and Z. Boom. Jumps. And here as well. So key Y. Over here, I'll key Y again. And I'll bring it up to, let's say, there or something. Key Y. Key Y, keyline pi. That's how you remember it. Done. So we're only at 100 frames. Actually, I was going to change that, but let's just keep it. Actually, we'll give it a second after. Cool. Press play. It jumps. It jumps again, and it finishes off. We'll need some rotation now, so that's why we have this roll. So we'll key roll. And at the end, we'll key it again. It should be going this way. Cool. I'm just guessing here, so I'm just going to put it at a high number, like, I don't know, 800. That worked. 800. And key it. I know for a fact that the front part of this roll is going to be fast because of what we did with the movement. And here is the test, so let's see what it does. So it's good to just see what the curve is doing. Cool. And it looks, I mean, check out this point here as it rotates. It looks like it's pretty good, actually. Did I get it right the first time? Sliding a bit. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit. We should be fine. So, graph editor, at the roll, we'll just bring it down just a smidge, maybe 616. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Great. And now we need to visualize the actual unroll, because this is not really showing us, because basically what happens is as it travels forward and unrolls, we should be losing more and more of the unraveling of the nCloth. So this guy should actually be getting lower and lower to the ground. And we can't see that. We don't know where the ramp is going to go. So let's save this and let's visualize it by turning the ramp into a material, and then plugging it into the roll. So I'll just create a Lambert. Sorry, why is it not? There we go. Lambert, and I'll plug this ramp into the transparency. And I'll assign it to this Lambert. And I'll turn on my materials. So you can see that the transparency is actually making the whole thing transparent, because at a white value, it's actually saying it's transparent, and at a black value, it's actually opaque. So what we have to do is just create a reverse node in between this. So I'll delete that connection. Here in the search, we'll type reverse. Cool. Plug the ramp into the input X, and and plug this into the transparency. Is this X? Sorry, let me manually plug it in to the output into my Okay, so we'll have to put this into all of them then. X, Y, and Z. Cool. So let's go ahead and unroll it. There you are. Ding, 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 ding. Now we know what is actually disappearing into an nCloth. So I'll key it here, and at the end, I mean, maybe it gets rid of the whole thing. I have no idea, but I'll just do that. And in my graph editor, we know that the unroll should be linear in the front and ease at the back. So let's see. It's purely static there. Then it opens up the dynamic. You can see that transparency is happening here, but it looks like it's catching up way too fast. See, now it's already here, and it's already up and around. Yeah, it's way too fast. So we want to essentially keep it over here in this area. So let's go ahead and bring in the graph editor. Under the unroll, we will just go up a bit. Good way to just go to the end and then see where maybe we'll go to like, actually I was just gonna go to the end and see if it's still sticking out, but that won't work. Here, just make sure that it's is still kind of showing like that. It's catching up a bit over here, so we've got to go out a bit like that. My cat. I've got to end this tutorial very soon because I got to play with my cat. So let's go to like there. See, at the end it's pretty much here, so let's just bring it up a bit. Let me just get closer. Yeah, something like that should do it, maybe. Let's see. Cool, and you can see in the left view that it actually is, well, not really, sorry. You can see that it actually should be at this, let's say 1, 2, 3. The third one should actually be where it is. So on my left view, 1, 2, 3, it should be actually here. So what I'll do is get my Y value and bring that down as well. So over time, we actually should be like maybe there. Cool. So I would, if I wanted to draw an imaginary line, it would be something like that. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's select all of these and turn the lattice on. See if I can do it this way instead. Oh no, then I'd manipulate those as well. So we'll bring it down to, what do we say, the third one, right? Yeah, right here. That won't have to go. This one, however, should. Maybe like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Cool. So we'll go back to this mode. And I just want to make sure I didn't I'm just moving these keyframes to make sure it snaps. I mean, I could just select all of them and go to right click, snap to grid, or snap keyframes, but just in case, I'm just gonna do this. Cool. So that should slowly go back up to normal. Let's just see it somewhere here in the middle. Yeah, that looks right. Cool. I guess now we're just gonna have to check it out. I'm gonna switch the shader back to our regular Lambert. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go to shading, use default material so I don't have to keep switching it. And I will turn our nCloth control to dynamic on. Let's save and let's play. Okay, so we obviously have some problems, but it's a good start. I'm gonna do playback loop so we have it. Continues playing. So what is happening? Actually, it's going way too slow. We've got to offset it a bit. You can see that it's just like unraveling at the top here. Cool, like right there. So yeah, let's make it faster. That's why we have a control, so we can quickly get to it. This unroll, I'll just go into the graph editor, and I'm just gonna drop it down. I think at this point I'm just gonna keep doing it until I get what I want. So I'll hit play. Cool, we got a little bit of another issue there. So let's keep, maybe let's reveal more. Yeah, something like that. The beginning looks a bit weird, and I think that is because it's really up high at number 1. So if we bring this down a bit and hit play, that should unravel more. And now you've got, actually it looks pretty realistic, but maybe that's not ideally what you want. So let's bring it down a bit. There you go. Cool. All right. Well, I'm guessing that's pretty much it. I think you guys can take it from there. I don't want to drag this tutorial longer than it should be. But that's, yeah, hope you guys learned stuff. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. Write it in the comments below and I'll definitely read it. And yeah, look out for more tutorials that I'll be releasing. Thanks guys, see ya.